Welcome back to Native Strength. We've been dancing around the wheel of life. Our last episode was about the West, where we saw how a clear perspective and proper interpretation could allow us to see the future. When we know what's coming, we can prepare for it. The truth is, we're already doing this. We just may not realize it. When we go to school to get training for a job or save for a vacation, we're dancing in the Northwest on the wheel of life. Now, these are just two obvious examples, but we're always planning for the future, even when we aren't thinking about it. Everything we do in life contributes to our future, even the things we do absent-mindedly or subconsciously. Native American tradition teaches that we make an agreement with ourselves before we are born about what lessons we will learn in this lifetime on our journey to enlightenment. It's important to note that if we do not keep these promises, the only person who suffers is us. We may make it to our deathbed, having all the respect and admiration of our family, friends, and peers after living a life that appeared to be successful. But if we haven't made progress on our own personal journey, we may find ourselves unfulfilled. In fact, a large number of successful men and women feel empty and lonely inside. Many people don't recognize their true value because they surround themselves with the wrong kinds of people. Let me tell you a story to show you what I mean by that. One day, a young boy asked his father, "What is the value of my life?" Instead of answering, the father gave the young boy a rock and told him to go to a market and try to sell it. He told the son that if anyone asked the price of the rock, he should just raise 2 fingers and say nothing. Don't sell the rock, but come back and tell him what happened. So the boy went to the market, and soon a woman looked at the rock and said she wanted to put it in her garden. She asked the boy how much it was. The child did as he had been told and simply held up 2 fingers. $2, she said, "I'll take it." So the boy went home and told his father that there was a woman at the market who wanted to buy the rock for $2. The father told his son to now take the rock to a museum. And if anyone asks how much the rock is, to stay quiet and just hold up 2 fingers. The boy again did as he was instructed. And pretty soon, a man at the museum looked at the rock and asked the boy how much he was selling it for. The boy held up 2 fingers. $200? I'll take it. The boy was shocked and ran home to his father to tell him that there was a man willing to pay $200 for the stone. The father said, "Son, the last place I want you to take this rock is to a precious stone store. Don't say a word, and if someone asks the price of the rock, just hold up 2 fingers." So the boy went to a precious stone store and showed the rock to the owner. The owner said, "Where did you get this stone? It's one of the rarest stones in the world. I must have it. How much would you sell it for?" The boy again put up 2 fingers. "I will buy it for $200,000. The boy excitedly ran back to his father and told him. The father asked his son, "Do you know the value of your life now?" You see, it doesn't matter where you come from, where you were born, the color of your skin, or how much money you have. It matters where you decide to place yourself, the people you surround yourself with, and how you choose to carry yourself. You may have lived your whole life thinking that you were just a $2 stone. You may have lived your whole life surrounded with people who thought you were only worthy of $2. But everyone has a diamond inside of them, and we can choose to surround ourselves with people who see our value and see the diamond inside of us. We can choose to put ourselves in a market or in a precious stone store. Choose the people you surround yourself with wisely. Don't settle for people who don't have your best interest at heart just because you're desperate not to be alone. One of the loneliest places is in a crowd of people who do not recognize your worth. When someone consistently brings us drama and sadness, belittles our accomplishments, and turns our happiness bitter, we may be wise to let them go. But what if that person is yourself? What if you're the one who tells yourself you're not good enough? What if you can't forgive yourself for mistakes you've made in the past? What if deep down inside you're afraid of what will happen if you become successful in life? This is where we can fall into the trap of using negative energy and undermining our own happiness and success. The flowering tree medicine story in the second episode and the exercises in the book Native Strength, The First Step on the Path to an Indomitable Life will help you to show yourself unconditional love. We plan the life we feel we deserve. And if we feel we are unworthy of success and love, that is the life we will bring ourselves. The most important thing to remember about the Northwest is that the body is an image held by the mind. Now, you may have heard that before and not quite understood that concept. I hope this episode will clear that up for you. It means that we're capable of doing things that seem to be beyond our ability or miraculous, like the people I told you about in past episodes. Remember Wim Hof, who climbed Mount Kilimanjaro in his shorts? And Isao Mashi, who can cut through a BB shot at him with a sword? These things seem impossible, but this is just a small example of what people have done in the past and are doing right now. Some people talk about ascension and how we'll be able to perform miracles when we either move through some point in space or our DNA is activated. But these things are possible now. If they weren't, we wouldn't see so many examples of what many people call modern miracles. Some people have figured it out one way or another. But we were given the instructions on how to use all of the cells in our brain centuries ago by the star people. So, let's get started with the fourth step on the wheel of life. The Northwest is the place of planning. Like I mentioned, we're always planning for the future, whether we are aware of it or not. Now, this can be compared to a power or an ability. If we know we have it and we use it, we're making the best of it. Just like the examples I gave before of someone going to school to plan for a lucrative career or saving for a memorable vacation. If we ignore that we have this power, we start to feel like we have no control over our destiny. We're surprised by the problems that come at us each day because we didn't take the time to look ahead and anticipate the logical results of our actions. There are ways to use the power of the Northwest positively and negatively. We can make our future unbelievably bright or bring about a devastating self-fulfilling prophecy. Let me tell you some stories to show you what I mean. There are two kinds of energy, positive and negative, but there are also male and female energies. Male energy is extroverted. It goes out into the world and actively tries to change things. Female energy is introverted. It changes things from the inside out, so to speak. Our first story in this episode is about negative female energy. You may know someone who's similar to the woman in this story, even if they're a guy. Nora fell in love her sophomore year of high school with the star of the football team. She was surprised he showed any interest in her because she wasn't a cheerleader or one of the really popular girls. She had a nice circle of friends, but it was the B list. Tommy was A-list. She knew she had to do everything she could to keep Tommy, so she had sex with him often and told him that she was on birth control pills, which she was, for a while. You see, Nora felt that the only way to keep Tommy interested in her was to get pregnant and have his baby. She thought he would have to marry her and then they would be together forever. When she did get pregnant, Tommy didn't want to marry her. But after talking with his parents and being threatened with child support payments, he decided it was worth a try. Years passed, and neither of them was really very happy. They were much too young to know what true love was, and when the infatuation wore off, and the baby was crying, and the bills were left unpaid, Tommy got angry. He didn't have much patience, as can be the case with young parents, and Nora didn't know what to do. Tommy started going out to get away from the stress. Nora's parents had always said their marriage wouldn't last, and so Nora wanted to prove them wrong. She felt desperate to hang on to something that she really wasn't sure she even wanted. While Tommy slept at night, she got up and took his phone into the bathroom where she could see who he had been talking to. When that didn't satisfy her anymore, she questioned all of her friends and had them report back to her on his every move. One night, she heard that he had been drinking with another woman in a local bar. When Tommy got home, the shit hit the fan. Tommy reacted violently. It was the first time he had physically attacked her like this, and she didn't think it would happen again. She didn't tell her parents, but she told her friends, neighbors, and anyone else who would listen. Many told her she should leave, but that meant that she would have to admit that her parents had been right. This also meant that Nora would be alone and on her own as a single parent, something that she was not emotionally ready to face. Another subconscious key in her decision was that her self-worth was all wrapped up in having attracted the attention of the star of the football team. If they were to split up, it would mean that Nora was not equal to someone of that caliber. Now, this brought up all of the original feelings she had when they first started going out. Instead of facing these uncomfortable feelings, she ran from them and buried them deep down. The attention Nora got from her coworkers and friends when she told them about how Tommy had hurt her made her feel loved. Nora decided to stay. The next time she confronted Tommy on his extramarital activities, he said maybe they should get a divorce. Now it was Nora's turn for anger. She flew into a rage about how he would be abandoning his son and leaving her for another woman. Tommy said he just wanted to be free, that there was no other woman. Nora felt even more desperate to save their marriage. She told her friends what had happened. It made her feel good when they felt sorry for her and took her side like they did when she told them about his abuse. They were her support group, and she needed their love right now because she wasn't getting it from her husband. Time passed, and Tommy continued to go out. One night, when he came through the door and Nora was there waiting for him as always, he wanted to talk. He had met someone and wanted to go through with the divorce he had been asking for. Nora felt desperate. She thought she had only one ace in her hand and she was ready to play it. She told him that if he ever left her, she would file charges on him for that one time that he had hit her. She said that she had pictures, and she told all of her friends, so she had witnesses. Tommy just looked at her for a minute, then shook his head, turned, and walked out the door. He never came back. Nora was a desperate woman who felt she had been successful when she manipulated Tommy into marrying her. She didn't look for better ways to plan for the future she wanted because her negative energy had worked once, so she felt it was her only option. Even though she was successful in perceiving the situation and interpreting what would come next, she didn't use the positive energy of the Northwest to manifest the future she dreamed of. Another important element here is that Nora didn't forgive herself for using negative female energy in the past when she decided to get pregnant and trap Tommy into marriage. It's almost impossible to change negative energy to positive if we don't acknowledge when we have been negative in the past, at least to ourselves. We can't change behavior we don't recognize as doing us no good. Now, let's take a look at positive female energy in the Northwest. Pauline was having a rough time. She was pregnant with her first child and had only been married a little over a year. They had planned this pregnancy and were overjoyed, but now she was losing hours at work and not getting along so well with her husband. As a matter of fact, her sister was being very difficult to get along with too. It felt like everyone expected more of her than she was able to give. She couldn't help it if other people got mad because she couldn't do something she said she was going to do. She just didn't feel up to it. Pregnancy was exhausting, and it was just a little thing that she had promised to do anyway. Surely people could be more flexible. After a few months, Pauline had it. She had already stopped talking to her sister weeks ago, and she was on the verge of kicking her husband out of the house. She thought they needed a separation to cool down and stop all the bickering. She needed a break, and so she went for a long drive. While she was out, she started to think, perhaps this pregnancy was contributing to her problems in her relationship with her husband, or even her sister. Pregnant women are under a lot of physical and emotional stress. Stress hormones make it difficult to concentrate or to be yourself. They can put you in a state of fight or flight. And that was exactly how she felt. She reasoned that these arguments could be a bit more than half her fault, and she realized that after time, resentment and anger grow. She knew what she had to do. She decided if she really didn't want to be around her husband, it was a decision that should be made long after any hormones associated with pregnancy and delivery had left her body. She went back to her husband and told him what she had discovered and asked to start with a fresh slate. She tried very hard not to let the stress get to her, but continued to be loving, patient, and supportive to others, and especially to herself. She no longer made promises to people to do things because she was not sure she would be feeling up to it when the time came. People appreciated her honesty. After the birth of her daughter, Pauline felt much better. She was her old self again. She realized it had been the hormones and stress of preparing for a new baby that had made her so upset. She called her sister and apologized. When they decided to have another baby, Pauline was prepared for the effects of stress and pregnancy hormones. Do you see how Pauline was able to take a step back and look at the situation from a better perspective? This allowed her to interpret things based on her new point of view. When the time came for her to have another baby, she used this knowledge to plan for a better way of dealing with the situation. She didn't let life simply happen to her. She proactively planned the life she wanted and prepared for it by adjusting her expectations. Now let's examine negative male energy in the Northwest. Nate had always been great at sports, starting when he was a young kid and got into trouble for bullying. The principal suggested he try football to relieve his aggression. He excelled at it, and also wrestling. But he also loved hockey, basketball, and track. He was good at every sport he tried, and he loved showing up the smaller boys. It was the perfect avenue for his anger and hostility. Girls flocked to him in high school, and he ate up the attention. When he had knee surgery, he started spending more time on his motorcycle, which quickly led to motocross racing. Nate liked to drink, and since he thought of himself as a professional driver, he felt that he could handle a few beers behind the wheel of a car. After all, it wasn't a competition. Driving home a little tipsy from a night of flexing for the ladies was a piece of cake, and something he did regularly. One night, he got pulled over. He didn't like the attitude the cop was giving him, so he gave it right back to him. He never cared for authority, and no one was going to push him around. Nate went from being verbally aggressive and rude to physical assault in a matter of seconds. The next thing he knew, he was in handcuffs, and actually pretty lucky to be alive, given the fact that many officers use excessive force on such people. Nate's aggression seemed to serve him well in life. He was successful in sports and the bedroom, but this was a facade. He didn't feel comfortable in his own skin. When a girlfriend would get too emotionally close for comfort, he would dump her for someone new. People who didn't look at his life too closely thought he was very successful. But deep inside, Nate was unhappy. He was worried about what life would be like when he got too old to be popular anymore. Sometimes he wanted to settle down with one woman who would love him forever, but he worried that no one would be attracted to him if he wasn't the big shot anymore. He didn't think Nate, the kid that was bullied in school all those years ago, was lovable. Nate may have seen what could happen in the future, but did he do anything to prepare for it? Did he change his life and embrace his inner child? No. He kept doing what had brought him success in the past. He didn't adjust his perspective and realize that mature women will always appreciate sensitivity and honesty. Everyone worth being around does. If he could have stopped burying his inner child and embraced it, others would have seen this confidence and found it attractive. It would have inspired them to embrace their own inner child too. It's like how people open up about their fears and disappointments after one person in the group shares a story. We can all point to times that we've acted like Nate and gotten in our own way of our own happiness. Now, let's look at positive male energy in the Northwest. Peyton was always a fireman or a police officer for Halloween as a child. He wanted to be the big, strong hero. Whenever he heard a siren, his ears would pick up and his imagination would start to run wild. He would imagine what the problem could be, and then he would envision himself there, saving the people in peril. His parents always supported him in his dream, although they knew it would never be a reality. Peyton was born with spinal bifida, and he struggled for years to learn how to walk without assistance. He couldn't run and play sports like the other kids. His mother would take him down to the fire station, where he would sit behind the wheel of the big fire truck. The firemen and women there were always patient with him, explaining how they had fought fires by telling him stories about their latest experiences. It was much better than television to him because it was real, and he could imagine himself right there alongside them, carrying the hose or climbing up the ladder. Years passed, and Peyton excelled in school. He decided to pursue his PhD. He worked hard teaching and learning at the university. One evening, he was on his way home when he noticed smoke on the next block. Remembering his fascination, he decided to take a few minutes to go by and watch from a safe distance as they worked to put out the fire. He was shocked to see that he was the first person on the scene. He remembered what he had learned, and his first thought was to make sure that no one was trapped inside. He approached the building, and he heard someone crying out for help. He went to the front door and called out. The voice answered back. He followed the voice to find a young woman in the master bedroom. Next to the bedroom door was a window. The curtains, carpet, and nearby chair were engulfed in flames. It looked like a candle and curtains had started the blaze, and when the curtains fell, the carpet and chair on the other side of the doorway caught fire. her way out was blocked. She was terrified, and then Peyton saw that she had a tiny baby in her arms. Peyton asked her if she could get to the sink. She said there was a bathroom she could get to, but the window was too small to escape from. He told her to take the sheets off the bed and wet them in the shower. While she was doing that, Peyton walked through the flames, catching his clothes on fire. He made it to the tub and shower just in time to put them out before he was hurt badly. It was obvious she had been giving the baby a bath when the fire started. He wrapped the baby safely in a wet sheet. He quickly placed another wet sheet over the young mother. Then he carried the baby and protected both the mother and the baby with his body as he escorted them through the flames. When they reached the other side, the firefighters had arrived. They began their work putting out the fire as paramedics tended to his wounds. The mother and child were unscathed. He had saved them, and he felt like a real fireman. The other firefighters didn't quite understand how he did it. This young man who walked slowly and awkwardly. It didn't seem quite possible that a man such as that could be so quick and brave, but there he was, a true fireman. He didn't think of himself as a hero. He was just in the right place at the right time and knew what to do. But to everyone involved, there was no other word to describe him. Peyton may not have known when he was growing up that the stories that he heard at the fire station would be so useful in the future. He was just following his heart. But when he saw the smoke and realized he was the first on the scene, his memory kicked in. He perceived what the problem was. He interpreted the best way to go about saving the young mother and baby based on what he had heard. He knew what would happen if he didn't help them. It was his exquisite planning and bravery that made this miraculous feat possible. Without following the first 3 steps on the wheel of life very carefully, he wouldn't have been able to overcome his physical challenge and save the mother and baby. Now, you may think that this story is far-fetched, but things like this happen every day. A 120-pound woman lifts her car to save her child. Men hear voices of unconscious people buried in rubble. I could go on, but native strength isn't about retelling success stories like these. It's about teaching you how to create your own.